Over time, the style of game that is popular tends to change. Gaming exists on a trending cycle just like every other product or designed item. What is fashionable today is not necessarily fashionable next year, and the further we advance in technology, the length of that cycle seems to exponentially decrease. The first video games were limited mostly by the computers available to us: Pong, Pac-Man, Tetris. As our tech advanced, so did our games. Soon enough, we were playing Super Mario, and after that, Call of Duty. You may be old enough to remember the year 2007. It was a golden age for arena-style shooter games, a genre that sprang up in the late 90s and early 2000s. In that year of 2007, two of the biggest gaming franchises of the time, Halo and Call of Duty, competed for the attention of gamers everywhere with what some would argue have been their magnum opus: Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or COD 4, and Halo 3. The arena shooter genre enjoyed many years of glorious superiority in the gaming world, especially with regard to mainstream console gaming. But in the year 2013, the FPS gaming community at large was introduced to a new way to satisfy its urge for war: the Battle Royale. It all started with a game called Arma, a military simulation game that allowed players to act out their childhood fantasies of roaming the battlefield in a pretty realistic way, but ultimately, it was a mod for this game called DayZ that would lead to the first real standalone battle royale, H1Z1, and thus the gaming community was catapulted into the era of BR infatuation. PUBG, Apex Legends, Fortnite, Warzone, Fall Guys, I guess? These are the biggest of them. Now, I think we're still in the Battle Royale era of gaming, but we've been through its growing pains and it's far into adulthood at this point. We know how to do it. We know how to be good at it. We have made games based on the BR principle that have broken player count records. It has been a success, and I may not be the only one who feels as though it's on its way out. This isn't to say that BRs are over. Arena shooters have not gone away. Super Smash Bros. Is still around. Not only are older genres of gaming around, but they still flourish. Alright, so you probably noticed I've left some pretty gaping holes in this little gaming history of mine. MMOs, RPGs, simulators, side-scrollers, etc. It's not because I don't acknowledge them. It's that for me these eras are harder to define. Role-playing games have been around forever, before electricity, and will be around right up until human extinction. MMOs have been popular since RuneScape, and will still be there right up with RPGs. I'm primarily focusing on the first and third person shooter format in an effort to alleviate superfluous complexity. I'm not going to go through the history of these other gaming genres, but keep them in mind as they will come into play later. Okay, so we've established that gaming trends exist in a cyclical fashion. So what is the next trend? I have my theory. No one can predict what people will want next, as we do not know ourselves most of the time. But there is a game currently in development that I think ticks all the boxes for being a next trend candidate: Star Citizen. Yes, you've heard it before, how it's so cool, graphically amazing, expansive, blah blah blah. But at the risk of sounding like a fanboy, I actually think it's more than that. Allow me to make my case. There are games with staying power, and there are those that explode. The ones that create what I'll now refer to as the trend seem to be a mix of both. If a game is too complex, it won't retain a big enough player base to really catch a big wave of gamers' attention. Similarly, if a game is too difficult, same result. If a game is all flash and no substance, it will explode into a huge fireball of success and die out pretty quick. Same thing if a game is too easy. The slow burn of a deep game that has little for the casual gamer slowly chugs along with a bare minimum cult following to keep it alive. Conversely, the flash-in-the-pan one-hit wonder is so easy, with no depth to sink your teeth into, it evaporates. Among Us is one of the most recent examples of those flash hit games. Big for a week, gone on Monday. One example of a slow burner could be Arma, as I mentioned earlier, but a more recent one could be Escape from Tarkov, slowly keeping its die-hard fans while most people are too intimidated by its depth to try it or keep playing. The reason I bring this up is because my theory is that games that initiate the trend seem to be a happy medium of both these categories. One of the best examples of a game that has both depth and casual flair is Minecraft. Minecraft released in 2011 and holds the most views of any game on YouTube, and is still in the top 10 for views on Twitch, being viewed live right now, 11 years later. This is because while Minecraft seems like a kiddie game that's cute and fun for the casual player, it also has amazing depth and almost endless possibilities for creativity. It's PvP, it's PvE, it's survival, it's base building. To think what this game has accomplished while simply being an entire environment consisting of 1x1 blocks is mind-blowing, and yet not surprising at all. When you think of timeless design, it's almost obvious that this should be successful. The best music is interesting, but not too complex. Most people don't listen to jazz, it's too deep. But we also don't listen to one note at a time. That would be boring. The most popular food here in the US might be a burger. It's not as simple as a plate of beef, but it's not so deep that it can't be casually consumed. So it makes sense that Minecraft is so popular, but why do I think Star Citizen is the next big thing? Well, I actually don't. I think it could be. More likely, it's the case that it's just the catalyst, like DayZ was the harbinger of Battle Royale. Star Citizen is the harbinger of, well, we don't really have a name for it because it does not yet exist. It's a mix of space exploration, simulation, survival, MMO, RPG, flight combat, and more. I'll refer to it as SMRFF. It combines all genres of gaming into one FPS package, and that package is absolutely enormous. Yeah, as I said it. Anyway, enough introduction. What makes me think SMRFF is the next big thing for gaming? It's simple. I think those of us who have been a part of the gaming community for a while now have seen it all. We've seen every type of game that has come out and loved it all, but it's all a bit tired and worn out now. Oh, another action RPG. Oh, another FPS arena shooter. Oh, another BR. Yeah, great games are still being made, but when will we innovate? When will we make something new? Well, I think just like Pong and Pac-Man, we innovate when the technology available allows us to. Just like 8 bits became 16 bits, our game engine tech is the best it's ever been. Developers like CIG, who are working on Star Citizen, are inventing new ways to make games as immersive as possible. And isn't that what we all want? Aren't games just a way to escape reality by immersing ourselves in a different one? A reality where we can be the best or worst or whatever version of ourselves we want to be. Is this desire healthy? Who knows? As an important question as that is, it doesn't change the fact that that's what we want as humans. Something to escape our jobs and schools and do things that don't matter. Now that technology is starting to allow it, games are inching ever closer to things like The Matrix, or The Animus, for a gamer reference. In the not so distant future, I could see kids getting home from school, doing their homework, and instead of hopping on the PlayStation, they literally hop into a sensory chamber and experience gaming in a hyper-realistic, full-sensory, other-dimensional world. But until that tech is democratized, we have PCs and screens. And the closest we get to that feeling of immersion is in games like Star Citizen. As kids are born later and later into the 21st century, their tolerance for technology and new tech advancements grows exponentially. 4-year-olds are proficiently working smartphones and playing complex games like Minecraft and even Battle Royale. As new generations become more tech-savvy, I think their tolerance for complexity and understanding in-game world mechanics will grow as well. Would a Gen Z kid be happy with Tetris? There's no way. That's why I think kids 20 years from now will look back at Call of Duty and say, "What, you can't walk outside the map? What's that on the horizon? Can I not customize what my character looks like? Where's my car or ship so I can go to the next area?" They won't be happy with the limitations of Battle Royale. They will want something like Star Citizen, games that have other games within them. Gameception serves to create immersion by making it a replica of real life. In life, you don't just fast travel to the market, you get in your car from your house that you bought or built with the money you made from your job you applied to, and you used it to get the food you need for your body so you can go play in the park with your dog you found on the street, and so on. Yeah, we have simulation games already, but nothing actually compelling and beautiful and all-encompassing of that fantasy futuristic space bandit lifestyle. That's why I think the future of games belongs to Smurfs. And that's why it's so fun to play Star Citizen. Knowing you're in ahead of the curve and the trend before it's cool, making your way in the system, knowing you'll have a leg up on the bandwagon by the time it comes around. In the end, we won't know until it happens. I may change my mind with what tomorrow brings, but it's fun to think about what comes next and hope for something awesome. Maybe 30 years from now, when kids are tired of screens, video games will be forgotten and it will be like they never existed. Kids will say, "Dang, Dad, why do you spend so much time inside when nature is so amazing?" Hard to imagine now, but hey, history has a way of coming back around. I hope you enjoyed this little foray into the future, and thanks for listening to my hypothesis. I tried to keep it brief and simple, so I probably left out many things that should be considered, but let me know what you think about it in the comments. Agree? Disagree? I want to hear it. Like the video so I know if you liked it, and subscribe if you appreciate my content. And most importantly, join the Discord where we hang out and play together as a community. See you later.